Attorney, just taking a look at what's happening now, geopolitics, our problems in the West Philippine Sea, and taking a look at the request for confidential funds of the Vice President and the DepEd, and putting that side by side with the confidential funds that was allocated for the Coast Guard for the past 17 years, don't you think we have a bigger problem with external security than internal security? And that's the reason why, that could also be the reason why our congressmen are realigning the funds.
See, that's also a curious thing, because why would the Coast Guard need intelligence funds? Are they going to pay Chinese informants? They don't need intelligence funds, no? As far as the Coast Guard is concerned, they need subscription to satellite images. And already, countries like Canada are offering it to us for free. So you can see that this is nothing but hypocrisy, no? Using a hot issue, appealing to the patriotism of the people to justify the attack on the Vice President. Again, I see no reason why to give Coast Guard additional confidential funds, no? When the threat is coming from the Chinese, unless they're saying we have the capability to buy intelligence from Chinese nationals, no? Especially the Chinese nationals whom we claim to be our militia members.
Well, to your knowledge, how big of a problem do we have with the CPP-NPA? I mean, I just came from the BARM region, and the government was saying that we have triumphs already. The presence of Abu Sayyaf is Basilan, for example, is already Abu Sayyaf free. Jolo is almost there as well. How big of a problem do we have when it comes to terrorism and the communism of CPP-NPA?
With what's happening in the Middle East, I could see Islamic fundamental groups, no, becoming active again. Already we see protests in support of Palestine. That by itself is not bad. But you can imagine, perhaps in the near future, because of our very support for Israel, then some fundamental Islamic persons may in fact launch reprisals, no, against us for our support for Israel. And that is why confidential funds and intelligence funds are very important, because unless you can identify what the enemy is doing, you will not be prepared for their actions.
Yun nga lang, parang mandato pa rin po ba yun ng DepEd, pati ng VP?
Well, mandato po yan ng Vice President as the second highest executive official. Kasi like the President, they also took an oath to defend the Constitution of the land. And of course, terrorist groups, insurgency groups, separatist groups want to veer away from the Republic of the Philippines.
We have problems of inflation, and there are calls to...
Sorry, Daddy.
Go ahead.
Just to press that point, but then, Attorney, we come back to the same argument earlier, which is that the President is in charge of that. Hindi po ba?
May
No, it's not an exclusive function.
Well, he's the commander in chief.
Especially where the President has provided additional functions for the Vice President. She is co-chair of the NTF-LCAC. See? So she has given her a mandate to fight insurgency in the country.
Back to the point of inflation, the calls actually, the initial calls to scrap the confidential funds were really to realign the funds for more social purposes, no? Which is to address poverty, to put it in other social welfare programs. Hindi ba kayo sang-ayon with this, especially during these very difficult times? Should we not be prioritizing the money?
Well, they need to walk the talk, because so far what I know is that they're going to give it to agencies to protect the West Philippine Sea. I have not heard that they will give it to the SWD as additional funding, additional MOE. I have not heard that they will give it to the Department of Health to support the program of which I am the principal author of, Universal Healthcare. No? So if they had opted to spend these funds on these items, then perhaps we can see the rationale for it. No? But they have not said so.
And VP would be happy with that?
Well, she says she can live without confidential funds, but the reality is it is still an attack on her.
When you say that you don't think the Coast Guard needs additional confidential funds, Attorney Roque, do I take it to mean you don't think China is a big threat?
What we need are more equipment for the Coast Guard, not confidential funds. They need more boats, correct. But that's not what they're going to use the funds for. Are they? They need to purchase more boats. They need to purchase more equipment, military equipment. But that's not what they're saying. They're saying they're going to give them confidential funds. And for crying out loud, why will you need confidential funds at sea when all you need are satellite images of who is or who are in our exclusive economic zone? Doesn't that make sense?
That would fall under intelligence, wouldn't it?
Well, no, because the Coast Guard is a civilian, not military. So it would be confidential funds.